Mm-mm-mm-mm. Hello? Hello, Painter. Hello, YouTube chat. Hello, Twitch chat. Welcome, everyone. I hope everyone is doing fine. But yeah, I sorry, lack of the brain. So yeah, how are you guys? What did I do since yesterday? Nothing. So you could say, on my side, everything is going great. Okay, we're returning to Raging Loop after a longer break because, well, I wasn't here for 2 weeks. Now I think it's approaching like 3 weeks since we last played. So I hope my memory is fine. Uh, this is going to be enough. But we're going to be starting new route. We finished one major ending last time. We're feeling happy and silly. Why was your day fire? What happened? Yeah, I think today I was just watching YouTube more or less. So not much to say from my side. I'm kinda dreading starting. You're done your work. Good, good. Okay. Guess we're starting. Oh Jesus. I don't know why I'm so nervous to start this, but I kinda am. Uh, Change my sitting position. I really need a better microphone, not only when it comes to audio quality, but also when it comes to, I would like it on an arm. Oh my god, on an arm, so I can just lean back more, get my mic closer. Now I have to lean in, so I'm closer to the microphone, and that's not good for my back. All right. I cannot start reading. Oh my god, I don't know. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. That kind of mood. Once I start, it's going to be fine, but I cannot get myself to start. Mm, okay. I closed in on the side of the road and killed the engine. It was steeper than I thought. My back was on the verge of giving up, so I pushed down on the plate that kickstand. Well, I'm lost. Maybe taking a ride down an unknown road with no sat-nav on me wasn't such a good idea. I just followed the roadside, figured I wouldn't get lost, but now I was in some deep shit. No, cool it, this isn't a big deal. I took a note of the fact that I'd gotten lost in my pocket journal, and then pulled out a map. Memories of our previous life. Suddenly, a rush of memories flitted into my mind. I remember incident. Where is music? Why did it go silent so much? Rao! Right, how did I forget? I'd already experienced this looping phenomenon or whatever. Hold on, looping? What the hell? There was no way something like that could. But, well, it's called raging loop, so, you know. Music is back, thank God. But it wasn't it. What else could explain? If it wasn't it, what else could explain this? How else could I? Someone who died once, be living right now. I had clear memories of getting caught up in some strange incident at the Yasumizu and shit, I couldn't remember how it ended. It was like this last time too, my memories were all fragmented. But I did remember that I went to Yasumizu, met the people there, and died. Had I came back here when, or because I died. That was a ridiculous idea, but the pain and fear I felt back then was just so vivid and fresh in my mind that I couldn't simply dismiss it uh, as just a dream or illusion. There was no point in lying to myself. I was here having experienced something that made me sure I'd died. It was incomplete memory from the future. I had no idea why I had it, but I definitely did. I had to come back to terms with it first and foremost. The gas tank wasn't empty, but my phone couldn't find a signal and was running out of battery. And my throat was a bit dry, exactly like last time. That meant that I was about to arrive at convenience store. And we'll see character that we haven't seen in from the beginning of the first episode. Our dummy mommy clerk. Knew it. I really didn't want to meet that employee again, but from what I experienced, she was the only one I'd met before going to Fujiyoshi. So avoiding her probably wasn't a great idea. Her attitude was shit, but at least she always did what I asked. Though I really didn't want. I'm getting frustrated. By the way, mm, I came back from Rome sick, and although it wasn't a big sickness, and most of it passed fast, I still don't feel all of that well when it comes to my throat. Like it's still holding up in this area. So I don't know. Mm. I will take it easy with my reading. Let's say that. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Okay. Though I really didn't want to drive that down that unpaved road again. Once again, she greeted her customer in a borderline insane way. It actually made me kinda relieved. And I wanted to believe that was just some trick of the mind. It was just like before. To her, I was just an annoying late night customer. Oh well, I just buy what I wanted.
くださいな。あ？どんだけ買う気なんだよ。
No reason, Yasmin was just desperately poor, and it had me worried. What was her problem? I was the customer. Yes, she's here again. We all missed her. With this much stuff, she had to use the register. Still grumbling, she started scanning the barcodes. Once she was done, I paid and asked,
近場の人里を目指したいんですけど、地図を見せてもらえませんか？
Why do you need it? Just go there. You know where it is.
あ？地図なんざねえよ。そこをなんとか。待ってろ。
She went through the staff door.
あったわ。
I knew it.
これがこの店。で、十字路を北へ行け。ふむふむ。
Hum.
しばらくしたら立教があっから渡れ。最初の分岐のとこに大岩があっからそこを右折してあとは直線。地図には森しか見えませんが。
I knew that there wasn't even a paved road there. Why'd she recommend the road anyway? If I'd crashed and died, it'd be homicide by negligence. Hello, Mark de Globo. Yeah. I'm not sure. Some people would dispute your ownership of the chat, but welcome. How are you doing? If you know want to know what's going on with the game, you can read the recap, but I will also answer your questions.
書かれてねえだけで集落があんだよ。
That wasn't a lie. It wasn't weird for Yasunaga not to be on the map. It was nearly abandoned settlement in the middle of nowhere. How did she know about it? Did she live in Kamufuji or something?
ちょっとバイクじゃきつそうですね。そっちの藤吉村にはくっそ面倒な峠道で2時間かかんぞ。一応メモっといていいですか？好きにしろよ。隣の町は山2つ向こう。
And I couldn't make any sense of the local distance measurements. Still makes more sense than Americans. One mount over, two mountains over. I like those measurements. They are very imaginative.
ここいらを深夜に無茶すんのは進めねえぜ。
Oh, actual consideration. I thought it was hard to be grateful she was the one who pointed me in the direction of that shitty road in the first place.
引き返すのも勇気ってやつじゃねえの？
Turning back, eh?
まあ、考えますよ。どうも。毎度。あ、そうだ。この辺でローカルな飲み物とかってないです？陳列棚には特にはなさそうでしたけど。いや、そこにねえもんはねえって。もしかしたらバックヤードにあるかもしれないなと思って。あるわけねえだろ。まあ一応見るだけでも。待ってろ。
She's rude. She doesn't want to do anything. She yells at you and will call you stupid, but she will do anyway what you want, so it's very sweet of her. Just call me trash and then make me dinner. Seriously? She brought me a... What the fuck? 500cc bottle with a black liquid inside? What the fuck is cc? The rebel looked written by hand and said, Wild plant cola? I expected nothing and got something huge. This place was amazing.
すみません。荷物だいぶ多くなっちゃったんで、荷台にくくるゴムロープみたいなのないですか？てめえ、ここはコンビニだぞ。見てくれるだけでいいんで。待ってろ。
See? She's annoyed, she hates your guts, but she will still go this extra mile to help you out. She's a good person inside. Me justifying my abuse with my toxic partner. I need to say something as Simp would say. I would breathe the smoke from her cigarettes. Yes, understandable. Hello, Mickey. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream.
あったわ。
Seriously?
せっかくなんでこのメモにあるその他ちょっとしたものたちを一通り見てきてもらえないですか？
You're using a lemon Mac? I'm also good also, but kind of. My throat is not at the best. Not at its best. I'm really struggling to talk recently, in the recent days.
いい加減にしろよ、てめえ殺すぞ。
てめえ殺すぞ。
ついに殺すって言った？一応で構いませんから。
待ってろ。
Yes, I think. Okay, our main character is big-brained. He goes about this way because, you know, he asks her about something, she goes, looks, and brings him stuff, and then he asks again instead of asking about everything at the same time. I know why he's doing it. He just wants to piss her off so she will yells at him more because he likes it. That's my theory.
あざーす。
全部あったわ。
なんなんだこのコンビニ。
Okay, their banter is pretty good too. It felt like she was about to kill me, but I successfully came out of pretty much all I needed. Did she beat us up? What was that noise? Then I just made a run for it. I opened up the weird wild plant cola. Looking up the noisy light trap above, I took a sip. It was cool, intense, and had a strange grassy flavor, but wasn't too bad at all. I expected something totally gross, but it was actually a legit drink. Slightly disappointed, I looked at the ingredients. Cola and plant extract. Hold on, cola? As an ingredient? Did they just buy cola and mix it in? And plant extract could be anything from fruits to poisonous plants. What the hell? Was this even safe to drink? Well, at least it tasted good. It's just really smart to just turn around and drive away. Entering Fujiyoshi means death, turn back. Perhaps that was what the loops were trying to tell me. Maybe I ought to listen. But was it really that easy? I had no real grounds for this, but if the cause of this strange phenomenon was somewhere in the village, perhaps I couldn't break out of the loop until I solved the mystery behind it. What would happen if I left then? Would I go on and live out the rest of my days only to die and come back here? Would I return to youth after years of being old? That part didn't sound half bad, actually, but was it really something I could just accept so easily? This was just speculation. But what if I actually hadn't moved an inch from that mountain pass? Was everything from then, now, and until death just an ant-mortem fever dream, and dying again would just bring me back here? If that is how it was, everything I do with my life from this point onward would be meaningless. Maybe I really should move on, and only after taking care of whatever was binding me. Also, how could I leave something so strange, unnatural, and incomprehensible and just return to the city? So obviously, uh, first of all, what I want to say is that our protagonist is weird guy, because any normal person would be too freaked out to return there, but he's curious and he wants to, so he's messed up in the head. And we still don't know what his job is, so I'm still very sus of him. What happened? Why am I frozen with this sad expression? Right, I have to restart my face. Alright. Mm-mm-mm. But let's make a save here. Because mm, we'll turn back first, because it's obviously the wrong choice. Until I finished my drink, the thing guiding me was my good sense, otherwise known as opportunism. Man, what a weird experience that was. I'd make a good campfire story once I made it back where I belonged. I pushed aside my sense that something wasn't right, my anxiety and my fear, and straddled the seat of my bike. Well, there was another way to look at this. I could try and see whatever ignoring it and all running away would actually work. After all, this might end up being the only way to solve the problem. I turned the key, opened the throttle, pushed the signal to the left, and connected the clutch. Away I went, starting with a left turn. Anyway, I'd go back up the mountain path. I'd had enough of this ride. I'd return to civilization, eat some normal food, get some decent sleep, and live my boring everyday life. Where are NPC so they can talk for me? I don't really want to read too much today. Just recognizing how precious those things were was more than enough for me. That made this trip all worth it. And then Smith drifted into view. Hmm. Ah, and that's it. We just die.
そういう夢だったってわけだ。次はもっとうまくやる。
Ship is on the screen again. There is no articles inside.
羊が2
Just to know that. Right? Okay, let's just load instead of playing that part. Let's pass by Fujiyoshi. Let's see what that does. As I finished my drink, the idea I had was very different from just turning around and leaving. Maybe I could just pass by it? I was curious what would happen if I ignored Yasumizu Fujiyoshi and the clerk warning and simply drove on past. Wow, thank you, Stargazer. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Fun fact, I'm playing Pathfinder. It's a role-playing tabletop RPG. Role-playing. Tabletop RPG. Like D&D, if you're not familiar. And I'm playing a fighter there. And I have a sword, magical sword that I named Stargazer. Yeah, cool. You're cool. You're cool too because you have a cool name. Okay, let's continue with the game. If you have any questions or anything, just let me know. Why? Why would anything happen? I just continue down the road, right? Why did I feel so uneasy then? After thinking for a moment, I just arrived at a mindset of eliminating whatever options seemed wrong. My guess was that this wouldn't take me care of the root of the problem. But I was the type who wouldn't believe that until I tried it myself. I turned the key, opened the throttle, pushed the signal to the left, and connected the clutch. Away I went, starting a right turn. The tense mountain path continued for a while. Though I didn't feel like falling asleep, I was definitely becoming more and more exhausted, both mentally and physically. Even this jacket, the force of the wind going by was doing a number on my body, especially as I kept onward for over an hour. I did, however, see a sign above my head that said Fujiyoshi. As I decided, I just passed it by, never coming close to Kami Fujiyoshi or Yoshimizu. Now I just passed the two mountains and reached the town I was told about. Perhaps I should have been more suspicious of the fact that I'd stopped acting on my heart after that. Maybe I was just so tired I couldn't even make such decisions. I could only remember noticing a strangely dense mist surrounding me. But that's when my brain lost all capacity for perception or judgment. By the way, Stargazer, did you find my stream just by YouTube recommendations? Yeah, same happened. We have to go back. Oh, you've been seeing the archives. Nice. Were you watching the archives of Raging Loop or something else? As for I finished my drink, I made my decision. I'd return there. I'd face that tragedy again. Of course, I was curious about this looping phenomenon, but I did recall what I'd thought during my final moments. It was something like, if only I'd handled this better. As for better or worse, the weird looping phenomenon had given me a chance to do just that. If I went about it a bit better, perhaps I could get a better ending. Hisako Mamiya, Yudai Hashimoto, Kanzo Makishima Yoshitsugo Ribe Takumi Muro, the old man who cried wolf Chikanmochi Kamoshida, Rikako Uematsu, Kaorio Ribe Kiyonosuke Nasato, Meiko. Hell, even Yasunaga Ribe, Yamawaki, and Haru Makishima were just victims of some strange superstition. I still wonder if they are going to still be the wolves. But I, Haruaki Fusaishi, could not delude myself. I was no hero, I had no powers, no convictions. I was just a dilettante. Dilettante? My only motivation here was a sense of perfectionism. I was annoyed at how many mistakes I'd make the first time around. Plus, there was a certain attraction I felt towards the unknown. It was an urge foundational to my being, and I'd be risking my life on its behalf. I wasn't about to pretend I was acting for the sake of the others here. Although, Chiemi Serizawa. Though she hated her childhood home, it remained part of who she was, and I wanted to keep that from being tarnished with blood. That motive was perverse, forceful, selfish, lustful, and filthy, and I couldn't let myself forget any of that. I remembered the names of those I'd met, and I had to do. I turned the key, opened the throttle, pushed the signal to the left, and connected the clutch. Away I went, starting with a right turn.
しばらくしたら立教があっから渡れ。最初の分岐のとこに大岩があっからそこを右折してあとは直線。
Okay, I have to say it again. I love her voice. I want to look up a word. Dilettante.
Dilettanti.
Dilettanti?
Dilettanti.
Dilettanti? A person who cultivates an area of interest such as the arts without real commitment or knowledge. So basically just a curious person. Without specialization. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, let's continue. I kinda hope we won't get to see her again, this character here. Not because I dislike her, just because she makes me feel things that distract me. I quickly came across it. I could clearly remember this overpass. The large border wasn't new to me either, but I wouldn't take that route this time. I just kept on driving, not lowering my speed for a moment. Full speed ahead. I drove on the winding mountain path. Strangely enough, my fatigue, though present, wasn't too bad, and my head was perfectly clear. I knew which route to take without even looking at my copy of the map. Or maybe I'd driven through here before. Perhaps this wasn't the first choice I'd made, but one of many. I couldn't be sure, and since my memories were so incomplete, nothing was certain. Still, there'd be an asset in the fight ahead. I wasn't going into this unarmed. I could no longer see the moon. If those memories had held true, the rain would begin soon.
ここまでよ。
Oh my god, sheep. Hmm. I don't know, every time I see sheep, I just look over to chat to see if the articles is here. End of the line, eh?
あれだ。大将、前に動画配信可能範囲のお知らせ機能
Oh, fuck. This is it. So, the game asks the streamers to, stop at a certain point. But, at the same time, no one listens. Like, I think that would be a problem if I was streaming in Japan, but no one cares about that here in the West, or basically the rest of the world. So I think I'm going to be a little bit of an asshole and ignore that. Yeah, I think so too, Painter. But yeah, I think I'm going to ignore that, being a little bit of an asshole, just because I don't feel like it matters. Because I'm a small streamer and bigger streamers than me already played through the whole game. Yes, that's the voice of the sheep.
今のはそれだ。つまり、動画
No, 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 no.
このチャプター
No, 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 don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't look at what he's saying, okay? Well, I'm going to skip through
正
this.
確にはこの後、選択肢が出るまでは大丈夫だから、ぼちぼち挨拶やら何やらの。
Ah, okay. To the choice. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll do that, sheep. We'll do that for sure. Oh, I feel dirty just ignoring this, but it's logically it really doesn't make a difference. I drove in darkness, but I could still make out a sign above me. The road wasn't wide, but I declared and somehow managed a U-turn. There was no other cars, so no one would complain. I returned and looked at the sign. It said that driving ahead would have led me to Kachihara, While by turning right, I'd find myself in Fujiyoshi.
ようやくか。
It was already past midnight, but actually earlier than I'd thought. A 30-minute drive from this point would lead me to Fujiyoshi, or rather, Kami Fujiyoshi, the place that wasn't too popular among Yasumizu's people. There is only one choice here. Enter village.
お、家だ。
My time estimate was more or less right. After 30 or so minutes, I began seeing houses between the hills and the trees. I eventually left the forest and couldn't see as well as anyone could in the middle of the night. It was already raining and I knew I'd only get worse. I had to do something before that happened. There were next to no city lights, and not a single house I could see was lit up either. However, unlike Yasumizu, the deserted place where most of the houses had been built from wood, the houses here were modern. The roads were well paved too. I could even see some bus stops and vending machines, emphasizing that this was modern Japan.
宿があるとしても、この時間に突然素泊まりができるとは思えないな。
So he wrote to Kami Fujiyoshi, I guess. Some would think there was a way for me to at least get a roof over my head, but I knew that was just a city dweller misconception. Same went for the idea that real folk were nice enough to let you stay if you just ask nicely. That was just pure delusion. In actuality, rural areas were just subject to local legend and traditions, with many of the residents believing good, peaceful lives were only possible thanks to their protection. Of course, that wasn't wrong, but that was also the reason why many rural people were so culture-sided. Okay, come on, game. Give me an NPC, so I don't have to read. Hell, this was a village so behind the times it still had settlement for the ostracized, which they discriminated against so badly. This place was probably even more insular than your average rural village. They wouldn't take kindly to an outsider like me, and probably be wary the entire time I stayed here. I could only imagine how strongly they'd react if some brown-haired man suddenly drove in on a bike and... A new character! Was I some sort of idiot? Like the city boy I was, I just went in there thinking it all just work out. I knew I'd caught the attention of a police officer. Well, I doubted he'd arrest me or anything, but the fact that there was some weirdo who invaded the village in the middle of the night would spread among the people here in less than a day. Now I'd be treated like a criminal if I wanted to talk to anyone here. The officer looked middle-aged, but what stood out about him was the fact that he seemed like the most generic mate-head old man from the countryside. He told me to sit down here and wait until he came back. I could only imagine the chewing out I was in for. Still, I was pretty sure that passing Kami Fujiyoshi was one of the main conditions here. I could clearly remember. I had memories of this. Hisako Mamiya and Yudai Hashimoto came through the normal route and they weren't considered a problem. Ah. That's why he goes through the Kami Fujiyoshi. Do not come from the river where they would think he's like a Yamibito. They die on the first day of the feast, but that wasn't because they were outsiders. They just violated the feast's rules. They either hadn't cleansed themselves, sheltered all alone, or dreamed. My assumption was that before it all happened, they'd stayed at an inn in Kami Fujiyoshi. They only come to Yasumizu on that day for the sake of an article. Unfortunately for them, the mist came and the landslide happened, making it impossible for them to go back to Kami Fujiyoshi by car. Then everyone started sheltering and no one came to help them.
ほっとけそんなよそ者。俺はおやっさんと他の連中んち回るから絶対戻れよ、チエミ。
Yeah, even Takumi-san had tried to cut me off because I was an outsider. Giving me a way to survive, however improvised, was probably a huge risk for Chiemi. I had to keep that in mind. Back to the journalists, though. They ended up abandoning the village plaza, clueless about what was happening. What had they done then? They'd probably chosen to spend the night in the van. I had no idea how Hashimoto-shi and Mamiya-san fit in there together. But since they hadn't slept alone, they'd broken the shelter law. Well, I wasn't sure if the van was a valid source of shelter to begin with. Even if locked, that's probably why Hashimoto-shi's body was found with the van. And since Hisako Mamiya had probably roamed around that night, she'd broken the dream rule. I had no idea why she'd go outside, but it could have been something simpler, such as nature calling or a search for a better place to sleep. Of course, as a journalist, she might have smelled a scoop in the Omnibus village and gone out to gather info. Not to mention they couldn't have taken a bath in that situation, so they obviously hadn't cleansed themselves. Can you stop yapping? I know all that. No, that's good for the recap, but... I'm tired of reading your thoughts. And so she died at the hands of that thing. Now about what happened to me. I died once after leaving the outdoor toilet. Dying cause I'd gone outside was understandable, but honestly I wasn't sure if the toilet even counted as inside. I'd bet that it didn't. And of course I hadn't bathed or slept, so I broke all the rules. And yet I'd survive. What had made my situation different then? It was whether I'd been found by that thing or not. Upon seeing me, it recognized me as a rule breaker and executed me. When it hadn't found me, I'd survived despite breaking all the rules. That meant that the sheltering law was simply a method meant to keep the werewolf-like thing from finding you. The time I'd survived, it tried to force its way, but failed. Buff werewolf man indeed. Or woman, we don't know. But buff werewolf either way. Nothing had happened to me cause I was locked in, but if the lock was broken or something, I'd have been found and killed easily. Basically, you could avoid the monster by just probably locking yourself in somewhere. Meiko was proof of that. She was a lost child who'd come from the hated Yasunaga, but she'd survived all the way up to the end without succumbing to the corruption. That meant the important thing there was to get a lockable residence and Yasumizu with a bath. And that was exactly why arriving in via the normal route was necessary. If I'd come from Yasunaga again, most of the inhabitants would treat me with a distrust and discuss driving me away. But if I was a person who'd arrived through Kamifujiyoshi, for whatever reason they'd be willing to come out accommodate. Meiko was probably only given a place because she was a young and because Rikako Uematsu had protected her. Do I read, by the way, understandable to you guys? I feel like I'm slurring through the words a little bit at this point. I couldn't expect similar treatment. Rikako Uematsu preemptively gave a house to Meiko, to a small child like her. That made it seem like she knew the mist and the feast would come. I'd think more on that later though. It could be that she'd given her a key right after the mist's calling. Anyway, if I couldn't be like Meiko and get a proper place I could stay in, I'd have the right to participate in the Feast of the Yomi Parch. I'd be able to listen to the talks myself instead of relying on Chiemi and be able to contribute my own thoughts. I'd also learn much more about the feast. That'd mean a lot considering that some people there, especially the elders, wouldn't want to talk about Yasumizu's problems to those outside the feast. A part of me wanted to avoid another tragedy, but the part of me that wanted to find out what was behind this mystery was equally strong. The monster, and the thing that allowed me to still be here. This looping phenomenon were the main mysteries here. though I did have some questions about the monster. It hadn't found me when I locked myself in the toilet, it was probably just curious why it was locked. Couldn't a monster with a wolf head just track me by scent? But it half-assed the job. Its failure to eliminate me only made the inhabitants more suspicious of me. There were no fist laws regarding outsiders. That was why it was best for us to just not be present. Looking at the current laws, those who didn't have a place to stay were outsiders, and they had to be removed because of that. The system worked fine for the most part, but then there was me, a proper breach. If that monster meted out the corruption, it was on the side of Great Lord Shinanai. As such, it should have used some divine powers or whatever to address the problem. Okay, our protagonist is like 3 steps ahead me with thinking. I'm kinda lost in the sauce here. What he's talking about. Also, it seemed to me like they had the power to unlock doors. Man, this was getting confusing. Yeah. Last time the wolves were Yasunaga, Ribe, and Yamawaki. According to legend, they had been replaced by wolves who'd come back from the dead. But their story was completely different. They said they were normal people who had wolves as their guardians. That meant that the thing could have been Yasunaga-kun or Tae-san. It was more like an agent of some side as whatever granted them their powers. That the thing couldn't have been Yasunaga-kun or Tae-san. It was more like an agent of some or on the same side as whatever granted them their powers. Okay. So the wolf wasn't them, okay? They didn't transform into wolves. I had no idea why they were granting the protection of the guardians. But from what I could tell, guardians were like fragments of divine power. Okay, Stargazer, thank you for coming, and I'm happy to see you here. Nice to see a new face. Bye bye, hope to see you again. Have a good class. And if you were on the same side as the one who granted those powers, couldn't you just use unlocking power, whatever you wanted? The old man? Which old man? The one that cried wolf? Or the village chief? Don't you like Chiemi? She was fun. How do a supernatural being make... and the MILF. How do a supernatural being make such a careless mistake? Any assumptions made beyond this point would just be grasping at straws and biased by my observation. I'll just stop here for now. Yeah, please stop. Anyway, it was imperative I got myself a place to stay. What was I doing here anyway? I'd been theorizing about this and that for almost half an hour now. Dawn was close. Only had a little over 10 hours until the mist came, and I had to find a secure place to stay within that time. That was hard to begin with, but as things stood, it was outright impossible. Did I have to run away? What if I just ran away to Yasumize, said I came from Kamifujishi like it was no big deal and asked them to let me live there? Well, they had enough imagination to suspect me. I definitely needed someone from Kamifujishi to vouch for me, and for that, I had to find something that could turn this around. I looked around the police box. A tidy desk, a rotary phone. This felt like a place of an officer from the mid-20th century. There were wanted posters on the walls. Oh, they'd carved that guy. One of the men even had the look of a criminal. And that one. A serial killer, huh? And was possibly he was lurking in the area, huh? That was pretty freaky. Okay, a serial killer in the area, and we had some kills that we weren't sure who killed them. Just something to keep in mind. But I think I have to reread what he was talking in the last part to myself. What does he mean by unlocking power? That's I'm not sure about. Just unlocking the doors? Mm, I need to get some water. Give me a second because my throat is starting to die out. I said like my throat is still not healed after the sickness, and now I had to read a lot. I'm back. I think we are the serial killer that but have dementia and we forget not to be awkward and we don't say what is our job because we don't remember. Possible, but I don't know if that's correct. But okay. Serial killer in the area, huh? Hello, Articus. Suspicious. That now you came here, not earlier, now. But yeah, but okay, our character is morbidly curious and doesn't, and blood and gore doesn't faze him. So it would make sense for him to be the serial killer. Although, when in the previous route, he didn't really have any occasion to kill anyone. I don't think, from what I remember. When the deaths happened, he was locked somewhere or and things like that in his room. But we'll keep that in mind. Finally, I heard some noise. The door opened and the officer returned.
逃げねえでいい度胸じゃねえか。
Didn't run away, you've got guts. Wow. Running away was the correct choice.
逃げてよかったんですか？
ああ
Ah, he wasn't one to mess around.
いえ、別に僕に後ろ暗いところはありませんので。
Well, well, we, after returning all the way to the beginning, we decided to return to Yasumizu to try again. Our Haruaki decided that, because we looped back to the beginning. But he wants to take the route from Kami Fujiyoshi to Yasumizu. Because previously when he went by Saranaga, he was deemed as cursed because Saranaga is a cursed river in Yasumizu. So he wanted to take a proper route that wouldn't mark him as a cursed one, so he can solve the mystery without worrying that people think he's cursed. And a policeman in Kami Fujiyoshi stopped us.
名前は
夫妻師春明です。工房の棒に岩石の石で夫妻師。太陽のように明治の明で春明。
Workshop and stone, so mason, basically. Meiji. Okay, what is Meiji though? I know there is a period called Meiji, but let me Google what Meiji means. Enlightened rule. So his name would translate to son of 8 enlightened rule, or how just for my own curiosity, how I would translate it. Literally. Enlightened rule by the sun, I guess, will be the most direct. Mason. But how would I wonder if there's any names in English that would translate to this meaning, to be enlightened one by the sun, especially. Let me Google that. Names, meaning, enlightened one. Aaron apparently means that. So I don't know, if I was localizing this, I would call him Aaron Mason. And his favorite would be his favorite food would be jelly-filled donuts. Okay, that just was my language brain being curious. Okay, let's move on.
ふさ石変わっとる名前だな。まさか偽名じゃなかろうな。
Rude. He sounds like a yakuza.
東京
タグ
もんか。
まあ、そうですけど。
It was like anyone weird was from Tokyo to them. Some serious stereotyping there. He was right.
年は
24です。
あ仕事は
What's his job? What's his job? Will we find out?
学生ですよ。
I'm a student. We know that's not all the truth. We know that. There were hints to that.
大学か。頭が酔うても常識はないな。
I just drove on the road at night. That was so unfair. I wanted to talk back so badly.
で、なんで来た
He lowered his voice a bit. It was the main matter here, and how he treated me would change depending on my answer. What angle did I have to take? Oh. Oh. Say you got lost, say you followed after your girlfriend. But this is not, any of them are not true routes, I guess. Let's save. And I will say that we followed out after our girlfriend because we want to get farther to Yasumizu. If we say that we got lost, he would just say, okay, stay the night here or something like that. But if we wanted to, and then if we were like, no, I want to go farther to Yasumizu, he would question it, like, why? There's nothing there. Just stay here. But if we say that we're following our girlfriend, Chiemi, which would make sense because she came back from college or universities, that would make more sense. I had an idea. Okay, painter, thank you for coming. Bye bye. I had an idea.
実はその
なんだいえ、
心に決めた女性がこの辺りにいるって聞いて追ってきたんですよ。
There, he acted like he didn't care, but he was definitely interested. Here is human societies. Love stories were a supreme form of entertainment and a good excuse for doing all sorts of weird things. Anything was possible when a girl or guy was involved.
そりゃあ、そうは言うても、ここいらで東京行っとったもんがおったとは聞かんぞ。
いえ、会ったのは別の場所で。
ほう。
あれは僕が鳥インフルエンザの後遺症で軽井沢に静養に行った時。
And so I wove for him a dramatically majestic story of how I'd grown close to the woman I dedicated my life to. The cop was really into it. He looked like he didn't care at first, but then, by the time I got the part where she first invited me to her house, he displayed a childlike enthusiasm. Eventually we became true lovers, but she said she couldn't throw away her childhood home, which led to a tearful goodbye. At that point, the cop was fully invested in the girl returning back home.
それで君は都会を捨ててこっち来る決意をしたと。ほう。
ほう。He smiled like he was about to pat me. I definitely captured his heart.
しかし、そんな若い娘おったか？なんつう子だ、君のフィアンセは。
There it was. Everyone in rural areas knew each other, so trying to make up a person wouldn't get anywhere. But it wasn't a problem for me. I had the perfect name in mind.
芹沢千恵美って子です。
帰れ。
Good out.
帰れ。今すぐ出てけ。すぐ。
He stood up and approached me so menacingly I felt he was about to attack me. Then he jumped on his scooter and led me to some crossroads, clearly intent on getting me as far away from Fujiyoshi as possible. I was now heading towards the so-called Kachihara area. The rain had already stopped, but it was tiring to drive along the still slick asphalt. I knew Chiemi and Fujiyoshi were distant, so to say the least. And since she'd been out of the village, they couldn't have known what she'd been up to. I thought that'd make my story more believable, but what the hell was that reaction? The thing that set him off was Chiemi's name. She told me she almost killed someone with a bat. Was her reputation that bad? Even if it was the right reaction to make? Expect something like, I really think you shouldn't, and the like. Was it because she was from Yasumizu? Does make more sense if they didn't want outsiders to know about Yasumizu. It makes sense for them to chase away anyone coming to meet her. But it only made them look more suspicious. Anyway, what now? Maybe I'd try coming back again after getting some rest at the nearest town. But from a hotel, entering Yasumizu from Kami Fujiyoshi wouldn't be as easy as I'd first thought. The fatigue was getting the better of me. I knew it was a good idea to stop, but no, actually I didn't know it. I wasn't able to think straight. Ah, I chose badly after all. No, was it artificial? No, that didn't make sense. My mind was hazy and I could no longer make sense of anything. Oh, taboo name. But we actually had to do it to get the key. No.
そういう夢だったってわけだ。
Articus, are you here?
次はもっとうまくやれ。羊が1匹、羊が2匹。
Hmm. Curious. Let's go back to the chart. Every time that damn ship appeared, you were not here. Every single time. Until today. This is the first time when I see you in chat and that ship appears. But you're still not clear of suspicions.
で、なんで来た？
But let's go with say you got lost to see if we get the key from that.
バイク旅行中に道に迷いまして。
I just told him the truth. There was nothing shady about that, and telling him some cheap lies would only make him suspicious.
本当か？
He put on a threatening tone. I really wish he didn't stare at me like that. What did he expect me to fall for him?
本当ですよ。もう何時間も山の中を迷ってて、ようやく見つけたコンビニでやっとここのことを知って。
コンビニ？勧めたか？ここに来いと。
She hadn't told me to go to Kamifujiyoshi, but she had told me about Yasumizu. I just tell the truth until the end.
なんか山の中に地図にない集落があるとか言われて、そこはちょっとって言ってこっちを教えてもらったんです。
そりゃ奇妙な話だな。うん。
あったんですかね、集落。
さあ、知らん。
It was clearly an act. He looked away. Man, this guy was honest.
まあわかった。本当に何でもないんだな。
ええ。
そうか。ま、こんな夜中に出歩いて疑われるようなことはもうせんようにな。
I'd have appreciated an apology for treating me with so much suspicion, but I had more important things to talk about.
なのですみませんが、一晩止めていただけないかと。
よし、道を教えてやろう。
Huh?
いえ、もうヘトヘトでして。
そう言っとる間は大丈夫だ。
実はガソリンが。
俺の原付のを分けてやろう。
ああ、気分が。
そうか、早く行った方がいいな。
何かあるんですか？
何もない。
Wasn't looking into my eyes as he said that. I'm going to not read that unless I see something important, just because I think it's standard things that we already seen. And I want to save my voice. Yeah, very generous. He was sure something bad was gonna happen. Or was he on the side that make it happen? That's true, like Kamifuji, she could be arranging that. Did they have a means to create such dense mist? Mist happened when the air cooled and the water vapor in there couldn't stay gaseous. It was basically small water droplet. Thank you, Palat. Welcome. I'm happy to see you. The mechanism by which they work could easily be replicated in a lab. They even did it on educational TV, though I found it hard to believe they could reproduce a scale vast enough to hide an entire settlement. They need some device that no doubt be large and heavy, and it have to be in Yasunaga Rapids of places. No, that's not it. They are using magic, if anything. Okay, now we're Flash. Will we get a key from that? Yes, we did. We did. Nice officer. Why do they always want to give me a hint? Uh, Let me open the chart. We also need key 7 with that, entering the village, alright.
で、なんで来た？
Ah, yeah, we needed two of the keys here. This game seems like there is a lot of branching points, but really it's pretty linear when it comes to gameplay.
何でもいいじゃないですか。
What the fuck?
ここは日本だ。移動の自由がある。いつ何時どこにいようが僕の自由だろこら。
Hell yeah, my man. It's Japan. We're free to do whatever we want.
なんだ貴様おら！
いい加減こっちは死に飽きてんだ。戻ろうがなんだろうが死ぬのも結構辛いんだぞこら。
Subaru moment.
てめえこれはタコこれ！
どうせこのルートもダメなんだろう。おい次はなんだい？裸踊りでもしろってのか。いい趣味だな神様。
やれこれクソこれ！
つべこべ言わずに止めさせろ。そんで自然な感じで休みずに入らせろ。うわー！
Whoa!
いやー暴れなした。なんだこいつ！もしもしもしもし。了解。射殺します。
I love the voice acting here. He just shot me. What the fuck? Berserk. The game just wanted us to suffer here in this section.
So
Now we can go here. That was a funny detail.
ここまでよ。
Again here, you, but we can skip this. Okay. What? Enter the village and then drink booze just randomly? Okay, let's do that. Let's drink booze. I stopped my bike. Then I flipped out the kickstand and locked it in place. After opening up the toolbox under the seat, I hid my license, ID, and business card. Anything relating to me basically inside it. Kami Fujishi was just ahead. If I came in like that, the officer would surely catch me and then chase me away. I had to find another way to convince that old man to let me stay. I reached into the bag of stuff I bought in the convenience store and took something out. It was a cup of refined sake. I quickly gulped it down. Refined. Oishikunai. Cheap or not, just chugging sake like this was plain disrespectful. No trying this at home, kids. Not that kids could drink anyways. Unfortunately, my life and fate and whatever were on the line here. Next cup. I guess he is drinking cup ozeki. The sake that they sell in jars. Third cup. 4.
ああ。なんだよ、おい兄ちゃん。酔っ払いか。いいねえ面だな。
そうっすな。そうっすな。
そうっすな。
酒くせえ。どっから来たこんな夜中によ。
そうっすな。
No, I must say that voice actors are really good, especially the main character when he goes crazy.
ああ、もう分かった分かった。とりあえず駐在所来い。
Yeah, I realize this. This man do always let me go as long as I was good for driving. Then was best to just not talk at all and go all wrong.
やひゃーやひゃー。
うるせえなバカ。近所迷惑だ。
Ugh. Where was I? Oh, my head, my back, I hurt all over. Tatami and a blanket, so he really let me spend the night here, just as planned. The officer was actually a nice guy, not like I couldn't tell, he was just rough and simple. Basically, the way to get around him was to get him to think there was nothing more to me than meet the eye.
おお、兄ちゃん。起きたか。ちょっと話聞かせてもらうぞ。
Alright, it was time.
要するに、金もねえ、仕事も見つからねえ、部屋は追ん出されて、女にも逃げられて、親御さんももういねえ。
Getting shot without hesitation. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
山入って死のうとして酒かっくらったが、死にきれなかったっつんだな。
はい。
Mistake?
東京っつうのは地獄だな。
はい。
After I spent an hour lying about myself, the officer looked at me with a sympathetic expression.
まあ、そんなチャラチャラした格好とかせずに、もっと真面目にすりゃよかったのかもしれねえかな。
はい。反省してます。
Basically, I didn't talk unless prompted, nor did I argue with him. This guy was definitely good-natured, but he was also rough around the edges. Chatty and a bit preachy. In this case, I just kind of let him set the pace. I was about to ask him something outrageous after all. I needed to be completely on board with his story. The front door was made of glass, and when people passed me on the farm road in front, they all gave me funny looks. It was early morning, but the people of Kamifujishi were clearly aware and concerned about my presence, an outsider.
まあ、死ぬのは良くないわな。
はい。酔ってても、怖くて。
I will say that in this visual novel, the backgrounds are very, very basic. Even like here, like we don't really see the station, we see part of the wall, like zoomed in. Which is, I don't know, I think the budget wasn't good. And then for most of the game we spent time in the fog, not really seeing anything.
あんまそんな感じに見えなかったけどよ。
死ぬほど怖いと、笑うしかないんですね。
はあ、そんなもんかもしれんな。そんで、これからどうすんだ
？Supposed to make it seem like I was hesitating.
やり直したいです。でも、もう行くところが。
I fixed some teeth and he quivered as I spoke. He's a good actor.
宮崎に嫁の実家があっからよ。小さい工場だが、やってみっか。
Thank you for giving me a company articles. I appreciate it. Huh?
奥さん、九州の方なんですか？
おうよ。我慢強いいい女だ。
そりゃまたどういうご縁で？
それがよ、俺がまだ20歳の頃。
And so he began his grandiose hour-long talk about his youthful romance. It takes too long. We won't make it in time. The words karma and a curse rebound came to mind. Apparently he was a Fujiyoshi inhabitant at the start. He and his wife were only living here in the sticks because he was the local officer. It was then that said wife, a plump and pleasant woman, came out and served us tea, so they really were living here. Eventually they got so lovely-dovey, it was hard for me to talk. I instead considered what to do next. I mean, this made it really hard for me to say I wanted to make a fresh start here in Fujiyoshi. Even his wife suggested I went to work for her family back in Kyushu. Such nice people, exactly the type that gets swindled.
それもいいんですけど、ここ、いいですね。自然がいっぱいあって、なんか落ち着くっていうか。
あら、不便なだけよ。それにうちの周りも山だらけだし。
なんとなく、予感っていうか、ここに引き寄せられてきた気がするんです。ここに出会いがあるかみたいな。
そうね、そうね。あたしらと縁ができたものね。
Damn, she was a tough one.
こんな優しくされたの初めてですよ。
あらあらあら。まあまあ、泣かないで。タオル。
タオル。
僕、お二人に恩返ししたいです。この辺で働き口とかないでしょうか？
ああ。
I got to the heart of the matter, but the guy didn't look enthusiastic. So I left the room, leaving behind the two of us and and an awkward silence.
やめた方がいいぞ。
え？
いや、こんな村、老人ばっかだし、特産物もねえしな。まあ、手伝いくらいならあるかもしれねえが。
それで構いません。お金はいりません。
そうは言っても、ちょっと行けば町があるからよ。
Okay?
ここで働きたいんです。
I want to work here.
いや、なんだ？ちょっとばかり、ここの連中は変わってっからな。
He went and said it. Listening to his story had made me guess that he wasn't under Fujiyoshi's sway to the degree others were. They'd lived here for 20 years, but in some small ways, they were still outsiders. The bitterness in his expression was more than enough to give me that impression.
ああ、いや、なんでもね。まあ、悪いことは言わん。なんか、別の方法を。
Suddenly I heard a sound coming from the outside. Welcome back. It was a town broadcast. Some speakers somewhere in the village were playing some unclear music and it was...
ああ、驚いたか。7時の合図だ。
Yeah, I'd heard this music back in Yasumizu. It was both a children's song and a playground singing game. Chiemi said it was called Prayer to Shinnai. It was a song revering Great Lord Shinnai. But from what I remember, it was it was about the Feast of the Yomi Parch. What did you see, Articus?
珍しい曲ですね。
ああ、なんつったかな。この村に昔からある曲なんだってよ。
So the village as a whole had inherited it. Chucklebone. What? There wasn't anything strange about that, really. Even if its roots were in a cruel legend, the passage of time would eventually erode such legend's significance. Just introduce something like a wolf bowling festival, and it would be nothing more than a decent song to serve as a morning alarm for the villagers. But that was only true if the legend's meaning had been forgotten. What happened next was shocking, even to someone who had their suspicion about the nature of this place. Only one by one, people started coming out of their homes, forming a crowd. The road before the office was full of people traveling from right to left. Where had this many people come from? I couldn't get any good looks at their expression, but they were all hanging their head despondently. Were they just tired?
何事です？
水場に向かってんだ。
Watering hole.
水場？
飯屋のことよ。ここの連中はみんな3食飯屋で食うから。
That was it.
変わってますね。
ああ。なんでも昔、山を焼くとかで火を使っちゃならんという話があって、それに隠れて火を焚いたのが水場らしい。だから今でも、自宅では皆飯を作らんで、水場で飯を食う。そんで、樋口んところが皆の胃袋を握って、
By the Higuchi, huh?
うちがどうかしましたか？
Oh my god. That is... We cannot see his eyes, so he's the evil one. The door suddenly opened and I heard a soft voice I didn't recognize. Surprised the officer and I turned around. It was a man in a suit, average build, his face was round, and he looked a bit shy of middle age.
なんでもねえですよ、樋口さん。
And it turned out he was a member of one of the 4 head families here, the Higuchi. That was the family Kaori Oribe had married into. But when her husband, the family's head, died, she was sent to Yasumizu. That means this was related to Yasunaga-kun and This means that this man was related to Yasunaga-kun and Yashitsugu-kun. and I couldn't see a resemblance. I was definitely intrigued though. Fujiyoshi had a tradition of using the watering hole to feed themselves, and if the Higuchi family was in charge of it, that gave them an influential position. People needed food to stay alive, and if they didn't have any way to cook, they wouldn't even consider making food for themselves. You could only imagine the power a family could have if it was in charge of all the local food and drink. Korea Ribe-san was in charge of a dining hall too. Her relation to the Higuchi probably had something to do with that. Perhaps she'd been sent there to fill that role? But if that was the case, the idea that Yasumizu had been completely abandoned wasn't true at all. It meant that Kami Fujiyoshi was actually controlling what went on there.
みんなが噂していましたよ。こちらは
ああ、臭いしっちゅうもんです。何やらいろいろ苦労して、死のうってここいらまで流れてきたと。
Don't just talk about my mental problems to other people, I told it to you.
へえ。それはさぞご苦労されたのでしょう。
Sounds rough, buddy. She gave me a genuinely sympathetic smile.
いえ、それにしてもちょっとどうかしていました。皆さんにご迷惑をかけてしまって。
まあ、そりゃいいが。
なるほど。申し遅れましたが、樋口昌司と申します。藤吉村の、まあ、雑用みたいなことをしてますよ。
どうも、久石春明です。
ハイカラな方ですね。イケメンですね。
Frank. Ikemen. Is he an Ikemen? I guess so.
いや、そんな。
どんな話だったのか伺ってもよろしいです？
うちはこれから飯にするんで、後にしてもらえねえですかね。
そうか。いつもご自宅で炊事をされてるんでしたね。あ、そうだ。久石さんはご朝食まだでしょ？なんならこれから一緒にいかがです？うちの実家の飯屋でね、おごりますから。
Sounds like I shouldn't accept that offer.
ついでに差し支えなければ、いろいろお話でも聞けたらと。何？これでも一応世話役みたいなこともしておりまして。藤吉村で起きてることは何だって聞いておきたいたちなもんで。ええ。
You look gentle and easy to get along with, but also like someone had to watch my step around, yeah. You just walked right up to the local police officer and asked him for information like it was casual request. It was clear who was in charge here. I gave the officer a glance out of the corner of my eye, but he'd stopped talking. I felt like the conversation I had with him could have led me to sharing breakfast with him and his wife. But he hadn't said anything about Shoji Higuchi inviting me. It was like he was telling me to accept it. Or perhaps there was just no point in trying to refuse.
大丈夫ですか？
Even so, I did ask for his permission.
だったら、一応戻してもらってもいいですかね。
But the officer didn't even want to talk to me anymore.
まだ聞きたいこともありますんでね。
Perhaps Fujiyoshi was a place where, in his presence, you couldn't even have a conversation without him involved.
ええ、もちろんですよ。
Anyway, it was decided. The sky was clear. The area was split into several buildings around the village. From what Higuchi had told me, Fujiyoshi had a population of about 1,000 people. 1,000? That's a lot more than I thought it had. I thought like it's going to be like 100. But it's a lot larger village than I thought it would be. Like a lot more. Well, he said Fujiyoshi So I think he means the entire mountain, not Kami Fujiyoshi. We went into one of them. It was crowded, but upon seeing us, the villagers stepped aside as if it was all planned. Apparently, everyone here did what they could to accommodate Higuchi-san. Also, everyone was staring at me like I was an alien or something, but it felt like Higuchi's presence discouraged them from staring too wrong. That attitude aside, everyone here looked pretty normal. Your casual Japanese people, the lethargy from before was nowhere to be seen. Maybe they just looked lethargic because it was early morning. Most looked like they were farmers, but I could see also some students in uniforms bearing the same design as the worn by the students in Yasumizu. The building itself was an aged wooden structure, built, but it was a whole lot bigger than the one in Yasumizu, and looked way sturdier too. The interior wasn't too pretty, but was so spacious. You grabbed a tray right after walking in, then got tea and rice bowls or whatever from the ladies in aprons. It felt like a high school cafeteria, but you couldn't choose what you wanted. You could refuse what you didn't want to.
ああ、こちら僕が面倒を見るから。
This section is a lot longer than I thought. I thought we would be in Yasumizu by now. He spoke to the elderly woman one after another and made them stop staring at me with suspicion. Then we took our trays and without paying at anything, apparently they had something like union dues for that, how effective, walked away. Parting the crowd, we searched for a place to sit
ちょ
down.
っと手狭ですが、まあしっかり食ってください。
That's what I was talking about backgrounds. What is this background even? What is this background? It's nothing. Okay. I really appreciate getting to eat a normal meal. That surprised me, so soup done with vegetables and boiled beans. I thought it was vegetarian at first, but then felt something meaty inside.
獅子ですよ。不慣れでしょうが、そんなに癖はないでしょ
獅子、イノシシですか？
Boar?
ああ、いえ。この辺では鹿やらイノシシやら肉は全部まとめた獅子です。
So just wild meat.
そういえば、昔は肉と書いて獅子と読ませてたみたいですね。
Oh, that's interesting. Shishi was reading for meat in Japanese before Niku.
よくご存知ですね。この辺じゃ昔から狩猟が盛んで、今でもこうして取れたらちょっとずつみんなで分け合うんですよ。
I suppose I never ate wild game in some communal Italy. Lucky me. Though the taste was kinda bland overall. I could take some soy sauce on the vegetables while the boiled beans were kinda sweet. The soup stock too made me think they used like minimal amount of flavoring. The miso soup didn't really seem like miso soup. It was more like a stew, probably because shishi was the only thing they used for the stock. I tasted more of it and realized that the overboiled meat still had sort of basely texture and smell about it. I couldn't call it good, but it was a unique local meal. Not everyone had the chance to eat. I was grateful for the experience. Why are we spending so much time describing the meal? Is it anyway relevant or is it just fluff? What the wild meat is? Just some hikers hunted in the wild, I guess. The tour was still crowded as the people came and went, but Higuchi didn't seem bothered as we talked. I kept up with him during the conversation, repeating the same lies I told to the officer and making sure to look as much a poor, unfortunate soul as I could. He smiled all the way through, even as he interjected now and again. I feel like he was at least 100 times craftier than the officer, and I wondered if it was my inner contrarian speaking. After that, Higuchi and I returned to the officer's post, but
久石さんには藤吉に移住してもらってはいかがでしょうね。
oh, it was what I'd wanted to hear, but I couldn't let it show on my face. While the officer was against it, he didn't intend to argue too strongly. He and Higuchi discussed some things, but it seemed like Higuchi already knew how he'd treat me. And it didn't look like the officer's take mattered to him. After a few exchanges, the officer caved, and it was my turn to speak.
久石さんもそれでいいですね。
No, that was a smile I couldn't say no to, even if I wanted to. Well, it really did seem like the heads of Kami Fujiyoshi were a twisted bunch.
ええ。渡りに船です。
すぐ住んでもらえそうなのが、とりあえずは、ちょっと離れた場所になっちゃいますがね。
What, Yasumizu? Was he serious?
構いませんよ。どういうところです？
まあまあ、追って説明しますよ。ああ、そういえば、そっちに行く人たちがいたよ。
Yeah, he really is sending us to Yasumizu for some reason. Those two, huh?
一緒に行ってもらいましょう。
There was no mistaking it. He smiled like he was harmlessly while forcing me into settlements for the ostracized.
その手続きとかは？
転入転出とかは、とりあえず後回しでなんとかしましょう。東京には知り合いがいますから、代理でなんとかなるでしょう。とにもかくにも、まずは住むところですね。駐在所にずっと泊めてもらうのじゃ、迷惑でしょうからね。私はそっち方面に行く人たちに、ちょっと話を通してきますよ。ああ、下の連中にも一報しなきゃな。ちょっとバタバタしそうだけど、昼までにはどうにかなるでしょう。それじゃ、一旦ここで。
He once finally ended the conversation and left the post.
いい人ですね。
On the surface, anyway.
うん。まあ。
The officer understood the situation and didn't like it, but couldn't go against one of the heads. This was probably why Chiemi said we couldn't trust the police. In Fujiyoshi, even government institutions were only a secondary authority. Anyway, what could I make out of this? I did actually expect to be sent to Yasumizu. The people here had no interest in harboring outsiders who were unwelcome. Or maybe they wanted to avoid the initial trouble caused by my immigration by making me live with the ostracized until I got used to the village? Whatever the case, this wasn't something I had a say in, which made it seem really bad. That was probably why the officer was so against it. I could understand that. Higuchi, on the other hand, seemed a bit heavy-handed with all this. I could understand him wanting to set me up with a place quickly, but as someone who knew about the fears, I couldn't help but be suspicious of the timing. The mist would come this evening, and he wanted to give Yasumizu a new inhabitant until then. Did Higuchi, ahead of Kami Fujiyoshi, understand what that meant? Probably.
ちなみに読んだことない？宝生9個の記事。
すみません。
I went through a highly familiar exchange and finished my introduction to Hisako Mamiya a second time.
どうも、お世話になります。
どうも。
Domo. He was hard to deal with as always. Higuchi worked fast, thorough too. He'd gotten back to me before noon, and before I knew it, I was greeting the ones who'd led me to my place. Josiah Peck said they were the journalists.
樋口さんはもう安水の方に連絡されたってことらしいけど、久石さんはもう大丈夫なのかしら？
ええ。むしろそちらは大丈夫ですか？
もちろん。お昼に間に合うならお腹空かせて苦しまなくていいしね。
なるほど。先方の都合でもっと遅く訪問される予定だったんですね。
そうそう。向こうの人たちの昼食時を回避した方がいいって話でね。こっちとしては皆さんの普通の食事風景を取材したいから、その点でもラッキーってとこかしら。
Nice. Oh, so this probably also had something to do with the people of Fujiyoshi not wanting to show their daily lives to others. They could have just refused them completely though. Did the journalists have connections that made them impossible to refuse? Or did they want to show what a developed settlement it was? I have to read so much today, I didn't expect that. But maybe they had no intention of letting them go. Unlikely. If they killed anyone from Yasumizu or some nobody like me, they could easily conceal it due to how insulated their location was, but the two journalists had come here to make an article. If something were to happen to them here, it'd be certain to draw unwanted attention to the village. On the other hand, if Kami Fujiyoshi's people knew that the feast was near, they probably wouldn't have allowed them here.
そんなわけでもう出ちゃおうかと思いますけど、橋本さんどうです？
いいとも。
Oh, he was slow, but he actually communicated with someone. That was rare.
それじゃあお手数ですがよろしくお願いします。
いえいえ。
Yeah. I like his voice. That was the first exchange I shared with him. In this life, anyway.
もちろん。じゃあ乗って乗って。
The van started slowly traveling down the thin paved road between the farms. Come to think of it, May was rice planting season. The field had water all over it and didn't display a single weed. It was full of people planting rice seedlings by hand.
機械でやってないんですね。
そのようね。ここの人たちはみんなあんまり新しいものは好きじゃないみたい。
コンバインやらトラクターやらがそんなに新しいとも思わないですが、逆によく手作業で回りますね。
回ってないと思うわ。だから今はメーカーの人たちが中心になって重機を導入しようとはしてるらしいけど。
なるほど。樋口さんとかです？
農業改革の方は三車さんという方たちが担当しているって聞いたわ。
なるほど。ちゃんとお金はあるんだ。
そうみたいね。どういうからくりかはわからないけど。
I mean, they could also get the machines for a deal or something, some business deals. Give us the machines, we will give you the rice in exchange later on. Things like that.
からくりって？
いや、まあそのね。基本的に外からの収入が出稼ぎのみで、高齢化で人が減ってる産地の町村にしては、メーカーさんはお金も。
Ah, that makes sense.
そうなんですか？
ええ、三車さんちとっても大きかったわよ。大きな会社も止まってたし。
Yeah, even if it was something that could easily be explained, it was still something to keep in mind. Kyo-chan. The strange nickname Hashimoto-san used surprised me, but Mamiya-san herself didn't seem bothered.
あんまり憶測は良くないね。
You shouldn't make too many assumptions. I'm trying to replicate his voice because I like it. Maybe I will use it for my tabletop character in the future or something.
ですけど。
記者魂が騒ぐかい？
そんな偉いもんじゃないですけど。
今回はこのまま流すのがいいよ。
それは名写真家の勘です？
どうかな。
わかりました。専門外ですしね。というわけで、さっきのは忘れて。
Nope.
ちなみに、あなたはこっちへ移住するって聞いたけど。
そうなりました。
これから行く場所については聞いてる？
聞いてませんけど、だいたい想像はつきますね。
My words made her give me a strange look.
というと？
多分あんまり 居住条件が良くないところでしょう。こっちのメインの集落とは切り離された感じの。
なんでそう思うの？
みんな僕の処遇について奥歯に物が挟まったような物言いですし、樋口さんがただの親切な人ってより後ろめたいことを平然とできるような人に見えたからですかね。
Less like a nice guy and more like someone who could easily shrug off any guilt his action would cause him. That's it. That's a very interesting description that I think I could apply to many people that I've seen.
そうか。
僕にはお構いなく、僕はそれでもここに住めるなら満足なんです。
余計なお世話かもしれないけど、本当にかなり偏僻なところよ。田舎への憧れだけじゃ耐えられないかも。
大丈夫ですよ。死ぬのに比べたらどんなところでも天国です。って変な言い回しですが。
What an awkward laugh. Apparently they'd been told I'd almost committed suicide.
というわけで一応聞いておきたいんですが、どういう場所なんです？
特別な地区。
キューちゃん。
Kyo-chan. She tried choosing her words carefully, but that made it sound worse than just a place for the ostracized. Hashimoto, she seemed to be warning her, but she continued talking anyway.
私もまだわからないけど、意図的にその理不尽な境遇に置かれた人たちが住まわされてて、上藤吉、この辺りの人たちからはあまりよく言われてない。その
情報は軽々に漏らしちゃダメ。
Dame. I cannot. I love his way of speaking.
相手を選んでます。何も知らされずに住まわされる人が本来知ってしかるべき公正な情報提供ですよ。
それでも彼に事前に言っておくべきだね。
だね。
そうですね。すみません。うさしさん、これオフレコで。
Well, I'm not recording.
ええ、向こうの人にも言いません。
その上で大丈夫？考え直すなら今日ここを帰るときに一緒に。橋本さんどうでしょうか？
彼が望むなら考える。
うさしさん、一緒に出ていく気は？
These two had an interesting relationship. Mamiya-san did all the talking, but Hashimoto-san seemed to outrank her. Hell though, he didn't speak much. Everything he said was really well constructed, made sense, so to speak. While Mamiya-san often became overly excited, Hashimoto-san was strangely unstable, and not just in terms of appearance. Wait, this was no time to scrutinize my traveling companions?
いいんです。もう町には帰る気はないですから。でも、お気遣いはありがとうございます。
でも、
間宮さんは多分、都会人と地方人って視点で気遣ってくれてるんだと思いますけど、僕も十分うさんくさいですからね。何かしら便宜を図ってくれただけで、十分にありがたいと思うんですよ。
そう。なら何も言わないわ。
うさいし、春明くんだっけ？
なんでしょ
う？行き詰まりそうな人には見えないけどな。
Oh my god, he's very perceptive.
ヘラヘラしてるからよくそう言われます。
そうか。失礼したね。
私、中学の時の同級生が一人自殺してるんですけど、いっつも能天気でみんなまさか彼だけはって思いましたよ。
Yeah, it's often the case.
そういうものかもね。
I might have said too much. Recalling the scene at the officer post, I tried to get back into the character of the poor suicidal man. The van slowly ambled onward. We approached a slightly more open space. It seemed to be center of the village, and it looked like there was a small shops there. How long are we driving? I thought it's like an hour away by foot. But as we went on, it started to become even more desolate, and you could see more and more trees growing between the buildings. If that was where Kamifujiishi ended, it was only about 3 kilometers across. If it was about 10 square kilometers in size, it had 100 people for every one of them. The stones I'd seen back in Yasumizu were nowhere inside. Apparently they really were Yasumizu exclusive. I could see a larger building nearby. Amamiya-san told me it was the branch school from some nearby town. All students in Fujiyoshi must get their education there before moving on to help in the fields. The smarter ones left to work outside the village upon graduating high school. Those who went from here to college were rare, meaning that, at least relative to other locals, Chiemi was a prodigy. The students from Yasumizu should have been in school this time of the day. Once we passed the last reason, we entered an area mostly untouched by human hand. The road led us into the overgrown mountains. There was large stones on each side of the road.
象徴的でしょ？鳥居みたい。
鳥居ですか？
ええ。神の使いたる鳥の宿り木、もしくは聖域へと至る結界の入り口。富士吉では山岳信仰があるみたいね。
ああ、神内明神。
知ってるの
Crap.
樋口さんから軽く聞いたんです。
でもこの村の外ではあんまり聞かないのよね。この山が特別だって話。神内っていう神格も聞いたことないし。字面からすると猿関係なのかな。でも
Monkey god or some sort.
単に暦と方角の話よね。
間宮さんってフードライターじゃなかったんです？
あ、失礼。もともとはオカルトライターをやってたの。全然食べてけなくてすぐ転校した。
Occult writer as well. Should look like your typical neat and fashionable career woman. Subdue was really unexpected.
そうなんですか。面白そうですけど。
今の時代、うさんくさい情報を読みたい人はみんなネットを見るからね。
Yeah.
紙に書かれた怪奇情報はみんな嘘で、本当の怪奇情報はネット。そんな住み分けになっちゃったみたい。残ったわずかなパイはみんな重鎮の先生方に取られちゃうからね。新人にはきつい世界だったかな。
No, that she mentioned it. I hadn't seen as many magazines on the occult and the supernatural these days. No idea if that was a good thing though. The car passed a large border. Can we get there? We're getting to Yasumizu the whole stream. I want to get. The moment he said that, the car jumped, scaring the crap out of me. If those stones were the mountain's boundary, we were now on Great Shinnai's Lord's tour. Beyond it, we'd find Yasumizu and Saranaga. The entrance to Yaomi was beyond the sacred ground. This region just kept getting weirder and weirder. Eventually, the pavement ended, and we were on the gravel road. The grove of trees became a dark forest. It was cloudy, so there wasn't much light to begin with, which made this place extra creepy. I composed myself. After all, the real creepiness was at the end of this road. We weren't saying a word anymore, and I thought about mundane stuff like the convenience of cars. We went down on the side of the mountain for about 20 minutes and eventually made it through God's narrow road. Beyond the dense forest there was a relatively open space. We'd arrived at the entrance I'd passed when Haru-chan escaped the settlement and I searched for her. There were the same two large stones and they did a great job telling me that this was some sort of boundary. We're close. I feel like I heard of a hint of nervousness in her tone. We were about to enter a strange realm. Or were we already there? There was no point thinking about it now. We just passed the gate and... she was. I stared carefully not to lose sight of her. Okay, wait a second. Okay. I need a bit of a break, guys, before we get into this section. We finally reached Yasumizu, but let's just say that the toilet is calling me. So let's do a short break and I will be back. I'm back. Is there anyone in chat right now? It's been a minute since anyone talked, so I'm just curious. But I must say, it took a lot longer to get to Yasumizu than I thought. And I didn't really talk a lot aside from reading. Like, didn't share a lot more of my thoughts because there wasn't a lot I could comment. I didn't have any special thoughts. I like the game, but when it comes to commentary, I feel like a lot of things we're learning are self-explanatory and obvious. And also a lot of the speculation characters say themselves, so kind of it would be redundant if I also said them. So I don't know. And leaves me empty to comment on stuff. I stared carefully not to lose sight of her. Our eyes met. A mysterious red stare, white hair trailing behind her. She looked at the van as we passed. And she fell.
岩で後頭部を強打しもだえ苦しんでいる。すみません、止めてください。
Of course, she tries to be like all mysterious.
何事？
So then, as it was Hashimoto, she stopped the van. I jumped out and ran to her.
大丈夫ですか？
Ah, she's so cute. She was still writing on the ground with her hands on her head. There was no trace of white divinity, trace of the divinity, and the mystery from last time, or from just a moment ago.
でしょうね。
どなた？
通りすがりのものです。
私は誰？
ちょっと待て。
一度言ってみたくて。
She just wanted to say that.
ボケをおかましになる余裕が終わりで。
Yeah, the writers, I must say, did a really good job with banter. Because whenever he basically Haruaki talks with a woman, he has good banter.
あまりの痛みに取り乱しました。
The girl, or rather a woman, since she was older than me, became red as tomato right before my eyes. Rikaku Amatsu. Was she an albino? Her skin and hair were pale, while her eyes were blood red. Her usual appearance and manner of speech were exactly as I remembered. But man, where did this playfulness come from? Well, I hadn't spoke to her much last time, so maybe I didn't know her as well as I thought I did.
大丈夫なんですか？実際。
痛いのは平気な証拠と、ありし日の母は申しておりました。
いや、それは場合によりけりで。失礼。
Slightly hesitant, I reached out for her head, gently touched it, and examined the damage.
ああ、ちょっと血が出てますね。コブもできそう。冷やしながらしばらく安静にした方がいいです。
お医者様でいらっしゃる？
いえ、常識の範囲の応急手当ですが、とりあえず見る。
He's not a doctor, but he knows body pretty well from everything we've seen. Serial killer theory may be true.
気分が悪いですか？
いえ、なんだか髪を触られると、ゾワゾワと言いますか、悪い気持ちではないのですが、なんだか妙な心持ちが。
Was the skin on her head sensitive or something?
いきなり第一村人とスキンシップとは不妻子くんやるわね。
Yeah, not bad. I'm just a Rizzler like that. No biggie for me.
何をおっしゃるウサギさん。
Jesus.
茶髪の男が上
Calm down, Jesus. Out of nowhere came the old lady.
濡れ衣ですよ。というかあとおばあさん、その植松様がそこで間抜けに滑って頭に大怪我を。
Wait, did she introduce herself? Oh no, she said Uematsu. So it makes sense for him to say her name.
どんなハレンチな真似をされなすったか。なんとかわいそう。なんと恐ろしい。
You're so close, I can see your pixelated things. Calm down. Oh, hello, why? How are you doing today? She wasn't listening at all. Feeling a bit stupid for worrying so much about her, I explained what happened and cleared up the misunderstanding.
ご迷惑をおかけしまして。
誤解を受ける方が悪いのよ。
すみません。
植松様、とりあえずお家で横になっとるのがええ。
山脇さん、ご心配なさらず。
Work and work. But it seems like you had got work at work.
今ちょうど野里様が休みずに来とられますからね。今呼びますから。
下まで送りましょ
う。お願いしようか。
No, this was unusual. She hated outsiders, but she couldn't say no to Hashimoto-san's presence.
植松さんですっけ。病院とか行かなくて大丈夫です。
Now we actually see how short Uematsu is, because she's shorter than her.
お医者様がいらっしゃるので。そうならいいけど。手を貸すわ。乗れる？お手数をおかけします。妻子くん悪いけど後ろね。
It was full of equipment though.
歩きますよ。
やめなさい。
It'd been talking nonchalantly, but her response was stern one. Well, it was true, I couldn't have caused some serious trouble if I arrived completely alone. I knew this from my experience arriving via Yasunaga. Also, I wasn't supposed to be familiar with the area. I had to avoid looking suspicious.
本当にすみません。
いえいえ、気になさらずに。
いえ、植松理香子と申します。回るに末で、植松、すももの花で、理香子です。
そういえば、まともに自己紹介もしてませんでしたね。夫妻子春明です。厨房の房に石器の石、陽明学の陽明で春明と読みます。
You see it, guys? What the fuck? This moment is the most mindfucking moment I'm having right now. He changed the meaning of his word, his name. Maybe I'm just not seeing it, and he did it the whole time. But previously he said that Haru, like San, and Aki, like Meiji, and Fusaishi was supposed to mean Fusa workshop and Ishi stone. No, now he changed it to Fusa from kitchen and Ishi from stone tools, and Haruaki from Japanese for Neo-Confucianism. Maybe he's just joking, but I wonder if he changed it every time he introduced himself.
不妻子Haruaki様。
I like she didn't get it at all. Yeah, okay, he was joking, I think. I would have to go and check every instance of him introducing himself. Anyway, thanks to that, I become an inhabitant of the back seat and fellow passenger alongside Rikako Uematsu. For a brief moment, anyway, we didn't speak much. The only noteworthy thing was the strange smell of dried aromatic wood she brought along. Besides that, I was just struggling to keep my seat as we jostled down the bumpy road. Leaving a trail on the unpaved road, we arrived and drove through Yasumizu. We passed the front of the Yanasato Nosato mansion, then a construction site, the Elson house probably, until finally we arrived at the plaza. By the time we got there, Uematsu-san seemed to be perfect health and apologized profusely for the trouble she'd caused, though it'd be best if she took care of the wound on her head. Mamiya-san and I went alongside her and took her to the house she was living in. It was the same place where she'd lost her mind and the rest of us had barricaded her in.
じゃあ念のため野里様を待ちます。
お大事にね。
はい。夫妻師様もこのご恩はきっと。
いやいや、お気になさらず。
めえ。
By the way, why? There was Articus here, and he appeared actually at the same time that the ship appeared. So maybe he's not the same ship, but you know, it could have been pre-recorded. I'd completely forgotten about Uematsu-san's extra.
あら、どこの子？
昨日会いませんでしたか。おととい休みずに迷い込んだ子です。
Hello, Toby. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Hi. Hi. You did not. Okay.
あら、上富士吉から？それじゃあ今日連れて行きますよ。
いえ、その。
あ、とりあえず他の人に事情を聞きません？リカ子さんは休まないと。
I love the sound she makes.
確かね。それじゃあ植松さん、失礼するわ。この子はいいのかしら。
めいこ。
Me! Uematsu-san called to Meiko and brought her inside. If you want Toby to know what's going on, please read the recap in the description. If you have further questions, please ask. Or it could be about anything. I'm just happy to chat. Uematsu-san called to Meiko and brought her inside. A stronger smell began wafting from the building. Maybe they were burning incense.
かわいいわよね、彼女。
You should probably remember that they were burning incense. And she had... Uematsu had like a wood on her.
ですね。
しかも、あの風貌にあの装束。神秘的だわ。
装束？
気づかない？形は巫女服っぽいけど、墨染めなとこは仏門っぽい。明らかに宗教的な意味がある格好。こんな偏僻な場所に独自の信仰があるなんて、胸が騒ぐわ。
What is glitching? That's a concerning thing. What's going on? What is glitching? Mm-hmm.
お仕事熱心なのは結構ですが、少々よその事情に立ち入りすぎじゃありませんかね。
Man, everyone seemed to just appear out of nowhere this time.
野里さん、すみません、失礼しました。植松さんの手当てで？
Mamiya-san gave a confident journalistic smile and spoke to Kiyonasuke no Satoshi.
分かっているなら道を譲ってもらえると幸いですがね。こちら見慣れん方ですな。
ああ、 樋口さんの紹介で今度こちらに住むことになった久石春明さんですって。
え？
どうもお世話になります。
藤吉村のではないね。
はい、いろいろありまして東京から来ました。
樋口はよくわからんことを。しかしまあ気の毒なことだ。では私はこれで。リカ子さん、失礼。
Empathy, huh? As condescending as always. After parting ways with him, we returned to the plaza. Hashimoto-san was taking photos of a small flower nearby. I could imagine that someone told him to not take photos of the houses. We're the only ones here and I couldn't hear anything but the wind. It was strangely quiet.
相変わらず。
She fell silent before finishing her derisive comment. Wise move. Wouldn't it be good to finish that comment by comparing the place to a ghost town?
じゃあ行こうか。食堂なんだよね、話が言ってるのって。
ええ。
Despite having next to nothing to do with me, Mamiya-san was helping me out a lot. Then again, she was heading there too.
まあお待ちしてました。久石さんでしたっけ。それに宝生さん。
Well, yeah, our MILF is back to normal. Just not crazy anymore.
どうも。
どうも。
どうもどうも。
どうもどうも。It took a lot to keep myself from saying hello, hello, hello. Why? Why did you stop yourself? Hello, Natalie. Good to see you again. How are you? Are you good? If you're not good, you're going to be good now because you're here. We're here to take care of you.
樋口さんからこちらをご案内いただいてまいりました。よろしくお願いします。
Shoji Higuchi-san had pushed me into working at the dining hall here. Not the watering hall, but the dining hall. It strongly emphasized that it wasn't under his control. That was why it had been decided I'd met Kaori-san. She had an oval, composed, slightly haggard face, and I couldn't see a hint of the demon from before. Apparently, if it was for their children, some parents could become both demons and angels. I kind of feel like that applied to the entire history of mankind, for better or for worse.
きちんとされてるのね、お若いのに。
いえ、落ちこぼれですから。
まあそんな。でも本当にいいのかしら、こんなね。
いいんです。いろんな人に言われますけど、いいところじゃないですか。
そう。でも聞いたかわからないけれど、食堂といっても炊き出し係みたいなものだから。その言いにくいのだけど、お給金とかは食事はもちろん出せるのだけれど。
Hey, if I have a roof over your head and meals, then it seems like a pretty normal living, like, you know. Good enough.
構わないですよ。お金がなくても素朴に生きていければそれで。
まあ。
はっ、じじいかよ。
Then Yoshitsugu Ribeko and walked through the door, displaying the same recklessness that probably gotten him killed last time.
吉次、あんた学校はどうしたの？
うるせえ、行かねえっつってんだろ。おい死に損ない野郎、死に損なってここに来たそうじゃねえか。ダッセーな。
吉次、あんたなんてことを。
Jesus, this is a new expression. I don't think I saw her that angry. No words spread fast around here. They'd called and told Kaori-san about it, then she told it to several other people and probably leaked.
本当だ、僕だっせー。は？頭おかしいのかてめえ。否定できねえ、僕ばっかー。おいババア、こんなやつ雇うんじゃねえよ。 店めちゃくちゃになんぞ。
Yeah, this is a pretty good tactic to take out, take away someone's power over you if they're insulting you or making fun of you. Just reaffirm their jokes in a mocking tone.
学校も行かない、手伝いもしないあんたが何を言うの。
うっせえ。おいバカてめえ茶髪野郎、おめえ本当に死にに来たのかよ。詐欺とかじゃねえんだろうな。
At which
ははは、そんなわけないじゃないか。ははは。
ははは。
おいババ、こいつ超怪しいぞ。
私はババアなんて名前じゃありません。
あはは、はははは。
外野から悪いんだけど、久石君悪ふざけはほどほどにね。
ははははは。すみません。だけどまあ、皆さんとは長い付き合いになりそうですから、親しくはしたいですね。吉次くんっていうのかい？じゃあ一つ賭けをしようか。
あ？なんだよ腰抜けがよ。
ね。
I looked into my large bag and took something out. Specifically, a new pocket knife.
これで僕の小指を切り落としてごらん。
Jesus! That escalated quickly. Everyone instantly fell silent. I ignored them and continued.
ほら、手をこうしておくからさ。ナイフは、はい、そこに置くね。
何言ってんだてめえ。
お近づきの印に指詰めさせてあげるって言ってるの。
As a sign of the friendship.
おかしいだろっつうの。つうか、そんなん普通自分でやるもんだろ。そうだ、自分でできねえからそうやってやらせようってんだ。やっぱ腰抜けじゃねえか。あ？
自分でしてもいいんだけど、これは賭けであり、度胸試しだからね。僕を腰抜けよくした君も、度胸を示すべきだろ。
Yeah, our plugins messed up. Oh, you called me a coward? But then, cut off my finger. Oh, you don't? Coward.
君がナイフを振り下ろせれば君の勝ち。逃げなければ僕の勝ち。つまり、見事君が僕の指を切り落とせれば二人とも勝ちだ。そうなったら晴れて友達になろうじゃないか。ね、吉次くん。
I smiled and pointed at the knife at the table with my finger.
何バカなこと言ってんだ。頭おかしいんじゃねえの。
さっきからそれしか言ってないね。うん。だから、おかしいんだよ、頭が。君は、まともな人間の方がいいの？そんな格好で、お母さんに当たり散らしておいて。
Oh, he's taking out all the emotion on him. Ammunition.
僕はおかしな人間の方が好きさ。見せてくれよ。君のイカれてるところを。はははは。
Man, this was just too much fun. Yoshitsukun looked right about ready to shit his pants. Hello, Toby again. Welcome back. It was time to back off.
なんちゃって。
What a shame, huh? Yoshitsugu-kun.
嘘。そんな痛いことやんないよ。まあ、急には無理でも、じきに仲良くしてくれたら嬉しいな。よろしく。
てめえ、気使ったつもりか。
Jokes aside, he was actually pretty sharp. He and his brother were nothing alike, but it wouldn't have been surprising if he also had a talent for seeing through people. He had Higuchi blood in his vein, after all. Perhaps it was genetic. I don't think that it's how it works. He left without saying another word. Cory-san didn't even tell him to go to school.
すみません。変なことをしちゃいました。
いえ、うちのバカ息子がとんだ失礼を。でもちょっとびっくりしたわ。胆力が終わりなのね。
そんなことないですよ。賭けを放棄したので僕の負け。多分追い詰めたら彼はやってみせたでしょうからね。
After all, he was the type who'd pick a fight with us something inhuman and die.
でもお母さんの前で血を見せるのはためらったんでしょう。きっと根はいい子なんですよね、彼は。
My words almost made Cory-san smile, but
いえ、本当お恥ずかしい限りで、体ばかり大きくなって私などはもう口出しくらいしかできなくて。
she decided to keep up the act of the strict mother. Puberty and rebellion sure seemed complicated.
久石君、ちょっと。
We did just that.
あなた、もしかしてあっち系の人間？追っ手がかかって逃げてきたとか、捕まったらけじめとか？
いや違いますよ。指爪は適当に言っただけです。その手の事情で皆さんに迷惑かけることはないです。
ならいいけど。
She was actually suspicious. I had to act out a better normal person. This wasn't the time to mess around.
とにかく雑用でも何でもしますので、使ってやっていただければと。
ああ、ええ、それは構いませんよ。どのみち上の方の決めたことなのだし。ただ住むところをどうしようかしらね。
Her voice is very pleasant on the ears. I would like her to read me a story for bed. No, I can't expect them to be already decided on that.
じゃあ挨拶がてら行ってきますよ。誰に頼むのがいいですかね。
基本的に土地のお話は山脇さんのところかしら。
さっきのおばあさんよ。車で通った一軒家に住んでらっしゃるわ。
Oh yeah, when Takumi-san gave me the key to my dorm room, he told me he got it from the old lady. Was she like the landlord of Yasumizu?
その辺にいらっしゃらないかな。植松さんのお見舞いとかで。
あら、植松さんどうかされたの？
さっき転んで頭を打って。
I have that talk to Mamamiya-san and opened the door so I could see the plaza. By the time I realized that someone else was on the other side, it was fully open. Seeing the person's face almost made me say her name in surprise. Chiemi Serizawa. I couldn't save her. I couldn't fulfill my promise. But we'd meet again thanks to the strange looping phenomenon. Whatever it was, something to feel thankful about was another matter.
はじめまして。
I had my surge of emotion under control and gave an amicable smile. But just as she made that simple sound, a long tear ran down her cheek.
目にゴミ入った？
Oh, does she loop also in some way? Her voice was calm, but the fierce stare made me way more, many more, and they were soon streaming from both eyes.
なんだこれ。香織さん、ごめんなさい。ちょっと手拭いかなんかもらえます？
Her reaction didn't seem to be anything more than confusion and her body going out of control.
まあ、どうしたの？はい。手拭い。
いや、わかんなくて。なんか、催涙ガスとか煮込んだりしてないですよね。
記者の方にお出しする獅子慣れが傷んでたのかしら。
いやいや、言ってみただけです。なんか、こう、なんだろうな、更年期かな。
まあ、ちえみちゃんはまだ大丈夫よ。
すみません、変なとこお見せしちゃって。
She wiped her tears, her eyes didn't look good, but her voice was cheerful and carefree. Just like in my memory.
今日、急に休みずに住むことになった方ですよね、お兄さん。
It was a word you used to on strangers. Why had she cried?
ええ。そんなに恐ろしい外見かな。
いや普通にシュッとされてますし、全然。これはなんだろう、謎現象です。あ、私、芹沢千恵美って言います。学生で里帰り中です。第一印象最悪かもですが、よろしくお願いします。
She bowed to me. She really didn't know who I was? Or she's just pretending? Due to the looping phenomenon, dying had sent me back to the point when I was wandering around on my bike. It was something that actually happened and I had to accept it, but it was also completely unreasonable. I didn't have any good way to reasonably explain it. Was the looping centered around me? Was I really the only one who had memories of last time? Wouldn't it be strange for there to be someone else? Memories were fragmented right now, and I often remembered things only when it counted. It could be that the others had forgotten almost everything, but still had certain fragments of their memories and feelings. Had to stop thinking about this. I couldn't have asked her to console me about the tragic end that hadn't even happened yet. I'd have been barking up the wrong tree. If everything worked out, I hoped I could get close to her again. Love that depended on death, despair, and the suspension bridge effect was better off staying in the realm of fiction, where it belonged. We exchanged a few words, but I didn't have much time. I had to focus on getting a place to stay. Anyway, just like I said, first time went to Uematsu-san's house. Obviously, it didn't seem like there was many people inside. I hesitated for a moment, but ended up unlocking a... Dare? That was Meiko's voice. Could she even understand me?
さっき、不妻子と名乗ったものですけど。
乗ったものさん。
いや、不妻子春秋。ここにおばあちゃん来てる？
来てない。
So I was off the mark.
わかった。それじゃね。
なに？お兄ちゃん。ふさあきさん？ふさゆきさん。
Wrong.
ちょっとお待ちください。
Oh, Uematsu-san? She told me to wait, so I did. Soon enough, the door opened up.
お待たせしました。それで何だったでしょう。
We may speak faster, Uematsu-san.
山脇さんに会いたいんですが、さっきあんな様子だったし、こっちに来られてないかと思いまして。
まだお見えになりません。
みたいですね。それじゃ。
いや、山脇様に何のご用だったかなどのことども。
Her talking skill has a cooldown. Yeah, seems like that.
ああ、いや、一応こっちに住むことになったんですが、住む場所がまだ決まってないんですよね。
住まわれる？
ええ、それで相談を。
Why did you make that sound? What does she mean by this? Yeah.
宿なしはいけません。
ええ。
夕霧立てば宴の支度と申しまして。
Yes, I know. That made me flinch. Did it show on my face?
藤吉の者は霧を不吉なものと習います。霧が立つ日は身を清めて閉じこもって早寝して過ごすのが常でございます。
Cleanse shelter green.
それは面白い風習ですね。
That's also what I would have thought if I didn't know about the strategy.
差し出がましいかもしれませんが、空き家なら一軒心当たりが。
え？
She told me Meiko to entertain herself and took a key from her house. Instead of telling me more about it, she insisted on going outside despite my polite protests. I had no choice but to follow after. We passed the plaza and went down the hill. She tripped 2 times.
痛い。
でしょうね。
転ぶのも頭を打つのも常ですので、痛いのにも慣れております。
ダメですよ。 そんなんで草っ腹を歩いちゃ。
これも植松の仕事ですから。
そうなんですか？
Is it also your duty to just fall on your face 2 times per day?
雲はネヤのはしため。
The spiders are bedroom woman servants. What? That was a new term. Bedroom woman servant? Woman who serve you in the bedroom? That sure sounded sexy. And the spider was one of the guardians of the great Lord Shinran. They remind me, Chiemi had told me that the Umatsu were the family of the spider.
黄泉の木は皿長より湧き、まずは人の正気を蝕むと言います。そこからかつて植松家は野蛮として村の夢見を守る役目を担ったのです。
Okay, give me a second. My rabbit Bunny wants to drink, but he doesn't have anything. Give me a moment. Okay, I'm back. Were they like the night watchman or something? It would have been weird for a police-like force to still retain power in this day and age.
でも夜だと 1000% 転ぶから、昼に見回りをされていると。
I love this song when she makes that. It's so cute. Was she all night? Was she alright?
ちなみに、今長者と呼ばれている人たちみんな、そういう言われみたいなものを持ってるってことですか？
はい。よく知っておいでですね。
上富士吉を通ってきたんですが、樋口さんはかなり力のある方に見えました。
樋口家は猿、水場のひもり。
There was that term again, watering hole.
火を使っちゃならなかったのをこっそり使ってたとかなんとか。
ええ。水場と偽って火を焚くことを人に教えたのが猿であったと伝わっております。
Okay, moral lore. And they use this to gain influence as the source of everyone's food.
さっきいたのは野里さんでしたっけ？あの人も長者だとか。
野里家はカラス、軒のはみて。
The Eve Eaters.
ピンときません。
屍を読み人かどうか見分する役。
They perform autopsies? That didn't seem very important.
実際はクス神、武士は渦とも呼ばれ、
healers.
彼らのみが使うことを許されました。
の里は薬作ってた家だかんね。
渦だ、渦。獅子滝に鳥兜が入っている。
Oh yeah, that was true. Well, an autopsy was a medical procedure, and if they could use poisonous plants on top of it, they could have easily garnered lots of any respect.
なるほど。もう一つは、なんて言いましたっけ？
身車。
Right, I hadn't met a single person linked to that one.
蛇は蔵の見張り、植松は見張りの家では。
食料版ですか？
いえ、蔵というのは櫓のことです。
じゃあ軍事的な。
Military.
かつて櫓を組んで星を見たと。
Ah, SARS weather.
工作の目当てをつけたと伝えられます。その職能は畏敬を受け、やがて親内様の神官としての。
If they are Shinnai-sama's priest, why are you Shinnai-sama's priestess as well?
なるほど。
Had our TV weather ladies now, but back in the day astronomy and meteorology were linked to divination. Link managed to consider them special powers that let them predict the future and bring good things in general. Farming was the building block of civilization. Having it was a matter of life and death, so it was only natural for those who offered guidance in that field to become leaders.
教えていただいてありがとうございます。深い歴史のある土地なんですね。愛着が湧きそうです。
そうですか。初めて言われました。
本当ですか？普通に興味深いですが。
藤吉の生まれでない人にお話ししたことがありませんので。
Alright, she refused to go into detail last time. Infiltrating the village really was a good idea, huh? Yeah.
そうこうしているうちに着きました。あれです。
確かにそうこうしていましたね。
別に変なことはしてません。
Her speech was still odd, and what the hell was up with her imagination? She could send my verbal curveballs to another dimension. Anyway, there was a wooden house. It was much like the ones near the plaza, except a bit more aged. It looked relatively stable though.
実のところ、藤吉の多くは樋口、野里、植松の私有地なのです。藤吉村の所有になっているのは身車のかつて代々村長を務める身車家に属するものとみなされています。
That's new to me.
つまりここもリカ子さんの土地なんですね。
Oh. What?
すみません。慣れ慣れしく呼んでしまいました。
いいえ、いいのですが、土地はその通りでして、ここの方は
Oh, someone lived here.
お元気に住んでらしたのです。
それじゃあ今はお亡くなりに？
はい、大往生でした。
That sounds like a real blessing here in Yasamizu.
気にされますか？一応中はきれいにしてあるのですが。
I'd have been lying if I said I wasn't bothered, but I chose to take a look. She hadn't been kidding. The incense was shabby and the wood was aged, but the floor was clean and I couldn't see much dust. The tatami was new too, though that meant it had to be changed. But at least there wasn't some human-shaped mark on the floor. There was no furniture, but I could easily get a futon or something.
風呂は
ガスは外してると思います。
そりゃ大変だ。霧が出たらまずい。
みそぎですか？そこの水桶に井戸水を汲んで体を拭けばよろしいです。
そんなもんでいいんですか？
はい。かつては
弱みの習慣は
Ah, bunch of dirty people, eh?
と聞いています。
あ、そうか。火は水場でしか使っちゃダメだから。
その通りです。
That made sense. Anyway, I was now ready.
本当に使ってもいいんですか？
はい。日頃掃除をしてきた甲斐がありました。
え、あなたが手ずから？
汚れを引き取るのも植松家の役目なのです。
Taking in the corruption, that means cleaning and getting dirty? What?
それに手を動かしていた方が気が紛れることもあります。
何かお辛いことが？
She fell silent.
すみません。無神経だったかな。
いえ、何かあったわけじゃなく、何か起きるのが怖くて。
The feast is coming. She looked at the mountain beyond the valley. No, it was the valley itself and the Yasunaga rapids at the bottom.
さっきの話、蔵の見張りの身車家は、例えば天気のこととかを今でも予想してたりするんです？
Part of me thought I might be prying too deeply.
春と秋のお祭りで五穀豊穣を願い、舞を奉納し、祝詞を読んでおります。それは昔の行いを真似ていると聞きます。幸いにして大きな日照り
Yes.
起きておりません。
I have a feeling that her speech patterns and slowness doubles the length of the game.
なるほど。じゃあある意味百発百中なんだ。
山脇様はお詳しいですので、そちらに聞かれてはきっと喜ばれます。
That seems true.
このままだと時間が過ぎるばかりだ。植松さん、本当にありがとうございます。この恩には必ず報います。
そんな、私こそあのような恥ずかしいところを助けていただけ、どうしたらよいか。
Wasn't she basically blaming me here?
いろいろありましたけど、これからもよろしくお願いします。お役に立てることがあれば何でも言ってくださいね。
夫妻様。
あ、それ柄でもないんで、どうか呼び捨てでも何でもしてください。敬語もいらないですよ。
He's really hitting her there today. Crap.
夫妻子、無理。夫妻子様、私の、むしろ私などいかようにでもお呼びを。
Are we going to date her this route instead of Chiemi? Was I actually raising some flags here? Yeah, that's what I said. Was the game this easy these days? Did she seriously fall in love over a bit of help after a head injury? Was this a soap opera or something? Well, not that I was complaining.
じゃあ、リカ子さん。
Harem ending, hell yeah, the best ending. No, this was something else. She was just especially vulnerable to men. As a family cat, she was probably either revered from a distance or considered an enemy. Takumi did the latter. She probably never talked to someone who didn't care about those things. That actually made me feel kinda bad for her.
OK。じゃあ、植松さん夫妻子さんだ。これで呼び合ってお友達になりましょう。ぜひ。
お友
友達
です。
こちらこそぜひ。
Hell yeah, we have a friend. In a part of the village with no one but us, we exchanged a deep bow. Amatsu-san then returned, and I checked the house for any holes. It seemed fine on that front. No monsters could get inside. Anyway, I had my place. Now I had to get one for Mamiya-san and Hashimoto-san. Alright, because we want to save them as well, I guess. Okay. Which, what do we have right now? Okay, I think I will end it early today, a little bit. Because, you know, I don't want to exert is the word? Push my voice too hard, as it's still healing after the sickness. So, on Sunday we're going to continue. Tomorrow I didn't plan a stream, but maybe I will stream. No promises though. But otherwise, yeah. Thank you everyone that came by, new and old. Thank you for any new subscribers on YouTube. And yeah, see you on Sunday for sure. I may be tomorrow. Yeah. I just have to rest my voice. Okay. Bye bye. Mwah. Mwah. Bye bye.